Hello and welcome to episode 9 of Heroic Stats and Any Heroics podcast. My name's Stephen, and today we've got quite a full house. In terms of podcast members, we're only missing one, so maybe next week we'll have everyone here. I am, of course, Stephen Denby. I'm the rankings officer for the GBHL slash pseudo team captain for Any Heroics, although we are an elective democracy, as I will maintain at all times. I'm here with John Partridge, our commission intern who cannot spell, but he's done that on purpose. Elliot, who loves Rohan, of course. And we've got Dave Farmer. You've probably heard of him. Pretty good at the game. And Jordan, watcher player extraordinaire.
Not anymore.
Say hi, everyone.
Hi, everyone.
Hi, everyone.
That's
Hi,
what
everyone.
I wanted from that. Lovely. So first of all, if you're new here, probably go back and listen to episode 1. But we are here to talk about the events of the past weekend, specifically the GBHL events of the past weekend. Any competitive ongoings at those, results, whatnot, best painted, most sporting, etc. We'll also briefly dive into bits of meta discussion in general and also at the tournaments themselves. So first of all, bit of hobby discussion. I think we've all got something that we're working on at the moment, haven't we?
Amazing.
I'm, of course, working on my Thranduil's halls, finally using those generation shift bases I mentioned last week. They are glorious.
Been cooking.
I've been cooking. I've also been trying to work out what to take to a future 700 points list. Someone in this chat knows I'm potentially taking something really, really, really stupid.
Is it Gilgalad?
No, I said stupid, not epic. John, what are you up to? Hopefully painting my Easterlings?
Yeah, so I'm working on Arnor, who are plodding along very slowly, but I have, like Stephen alluded to, been working on my first painting commission, technically, which will be Easterlings for Stephen. I converted up a Dragon Knight, which you can see on screen now. And then
Looks
need to
beautiful,
paint
John.
some other bits and bobs for him. So that's what I've been doing.
Yeah.
Converting and painting Arnor.
Lovely. It's beautiful work. Elliot, you still working on what's that shit dwarf hero? Mardy?
Marty.
There's no shit dwarf heroes. That's a trick question.
I finished Mars a while back. I've been painting shit tons of Iron Guard. Got them falling out my arse at the moment. So
I love Iron Guard, to
Why
be
did you
fair.
put them up there in the first place?
I really like
they
their
fit well nicely.
aesthetic. They're a nice set of miniatures, to be honest.
Yeah, I think they're very cool. Very iconic.
They're very different to even the other Durance. Actually, that's not quite true. I really like the Durance folk because they're basically just from the Lord of the Rings era. They've just grabbed Gimli and they're like, right, that's literally the one thing they have. That scene at the start with the dwarf lords picking up the rings. That's literally all they had to go on. So they just created a whole range. And for me, I think it looks really good. That's why I own none of it. Not a single miniature.
Dave, what are you up to at the moment?
I was doing this when I was having my trouble connecting to the podcast just like about 10 minutes ago. I was boiling some water because I've been building my Guards of Glathram Court and I needed to straighten out some resin pikes that were bendy and awkward. I was sending you a pic of those earlier, but I love these.
Is that the new Forge World sculpts?
No,
they're disgusting.
I don't think they're disgusting. They're just sort of fine, average, I would say. Whereas the fine casts and they were metal before that, but good luck getting them in metal. Guards of Glathram Court, they're lovely models. They have such great poses as well.
I find a hairdryer works quite well as well. It's quite satisfying to watch them bend into place.
Shockingly, I don't own a hairdryer, Jordan. So I make do with.
What about a bowling ball waxing machine?
Boiling water works really well. Specifically for pikes, you dip them in, you pull them straight, and you pour them under the cold tap. They immediately stay in place. They don't go back.
Elliot, for those audio listeners who will not have noticed, just had a laughing fit so hard he had to mute himself. So that's what we're here for. Good crack. Jordan, what are you up to? You still on the blowjobbies?
Other than being at the opposite end of the hair spectrum to Dave, I'm still working on some Harad and Serpent Horde. Just ticking over. Lots of contrast paints.
Between the two of us, we have one head of hair.
I would say that me and Dave are probably polar opposites because he has good beard, I have non-existent beard, and he has non-existent hair, and I'm not
To
going
be
to call
fair,
it
your
good
heads
hair.
are almost like reversed, aren't
Yeah,
they?
exactly. Just
Yeah.
turn me upside down. So yeah, we've all got a few little projects coming on.
Yeah.
We might have some videos of those coming up at some point,
Mm.
maybe. Firstly, though, before we get into the results of last weekend, a word from our legitimate actual sponsors.
I brought this from Firestorm Games.
I bought this from Firestorm Games.
I bought these from Firestorm Games.
We're very, very proud here at Any Heroics to be affiliated with Firestorm Games. So when I first got into the hobby a couple of years ago, and I bought myself the Battle of Pelennor Fields box and some Order Orcs and a handful of paints, it was from this site. I spoke to a couple of guys at the staff there, and they were very, very helpful and gave me everything I needed to get into the hobby. It's a fantastic place to get your stuff. Most of it's already discounted from the Games Workshop rates, so buying it here is going to be way cheaper than getting yourself direct. They don't just do MESBG, they've got 40k, AOS, Magic the Gathering, any other board games you can think of. If believe you and me, it's there. It's just such an amazing shop, and we're really, really proud to be affiliated. They do nationwide delivery, and you can use our link below to get any of the stuff you need and have an explore for yourself. Back to the pod.
So as you will just have seen, we are officially now sponsored by the lovely Firestorm Games down in Cardiff. A big shout out to them. They're actually one of the reasons that we're a team together, really, because we Into the West was where we basically poached John. I messaged him being like, "Oh, you're going to this event? I haven't spoken to you in 10 years, but you know." Me and Elliot had a lovely doubles tournament there. We also had, I want to say it was the Dragon Championships non-GBHL event. That's where we met Dave, or I met Dave for the first time. He had a lovely game against me, didn't you, Dave?
Yeah, and George as well. You guys love me.
I forced you to be my friend after that. So yeah, anyone who is looking for places to buy their hobby stuff, please check out Firestorm Games. There'll be a link in the description.
Good gaming venue. They also do
Great
other
gaming
games
venue.
as well.
They've also got a little cafe there. If you're ever in Cardiff, go there because it's a nerd haven. It's well ventilated. They've got good facilities for everything, food, nerd stuff. Well
Also,
stocked.
Toilets.
Go
Yeah.
there because we told you to as well, not because
Yeah.
it's good,
Yeah, we
Yeah.
told you
Makes
to
us-
do it, so do
because
it.
it makes us feel good and special.
Cool.
Anyway,
So moving on to gathering at the Grey Havens, the GBHL 100. This was up in Preston. If you don't know where Preston is, no shade to Preston, but why would you know where Preston is?
it's the North
It's-
End.
It's near Manchester. That's all you really need to know. The tournament organizer was Charles Sims, who's been running this event for quite a few years.
A long
Um,
time. This
I
is
think
this is
this
an
is
old
his
school
ninth
event.
year, eighth
Yeah,
year.
it's something like that. It's one of the older events and that hasn't
Yeah.
missed.
This event last year was, I think, my second ever event, my only 100 podium.
Oh,
and
yeah.
it all went downhill from
yeah.
there.
Now,
Um,
I might be talking shit about this, but this is one of the only events that hasn't missed a year because this was one of the first events that came back after COVID, and I think
Yes.
it still happened in 2020, although I'm not quite sure about that actually.
That's a very interesting bit of trivia. Thank you.
I also might be wrong. So
There's 701 points and 6 games with a total of 84 players attending.
Can I just say, I always like a 700 point, like
Yeah.
701 point event. Like I like that little, it's an extra shield here, it's a spear there, it's a bow. It's silly.
this is
I
a
like it.
this is a specific. So he actually mentioned why this was in the description of the event. He traditionally Charles has done the opposite of this, where he's gone like 699 or slightly under 700 because he felt like Smaug shouldn't be played. But this time he made a big song and dance about saying this is the year that Smaug is playable at Grey Havens, and he bumped it up to slightly over 700 so that people could play Smaug. And I think a couple of people did. I remember Ali telling me he played against a Smaug player, which is fun. I don't think Smaug is super competitive, but it's certainly a bit of a cock block list against certain armies.
Smaug is a very cool model. He
Yeah.
will auto lose some scenarios and almost auto win some others. Yeah. Most sporting was insert name of most sporting player here. We don't actually have this information, unfortunately, right at recording time, but hopefully by the time this goes up, we will have it. Congratulations, whoever you are, for being a lovely person.
Yeah, big up.
Goddamn right.
Most sporting, I think, is one of the most important prizes you can give at an event, because it's really important to recognize those people who are the lovely ones in the community, who, you know,
Yeah,
keep
I mean-
everyone smiling, even if you have a miserable game and then you have a great one afterwards and you're like, you know what? Yeah, you've improved my weekend a lot. You deserve
It's
my
nice to
vote.
see people that are good at rugby and also good at Middle Earth strategy battle game.
Ha.
This is
We
what you
also
get,
don't
Wardman.
know who best painted was. John and I kind of let ourselves down with this one, but we do have pictures of
Yeah,
who
I'm not entirely sure how we got the pictures, but not the name. But
I thought you were
here
going to
is.
say pictures of the guy.
Yeah.
Part of
Just
me is like,
hey.
this is very Dan Scott inspired Easterlings Carned. This is really cool. I
I'm about the
think
chariots a lot.
yeah,
They're very cool.
There's a war priest on chariot. There's a few Easterlings on chariot with bows.
He's got the cataphractic horses as well, which is cool.
Yeah, but again,
Just
this
to really
is
sell
a
it.
lot of effort put into this one. Honestly, I really want to say this is Dan Scott again, but I
But it
don't know if
isn't.
it is. I don't think it is.
Well, it doesn't look the same paint scheme, so
No.
Looks a bit
It
like
is
yours,
slightly
Jordan.
Yeah.
And
So
mine?
a lot of cool conversion work done on these chariots.
Yeah, very nice.
It's very
Right.
nice work.
So, looking at our podium lists, there was a dead draw for third place. I think it came right down to a kind of on the fly tiebreaker of who got the most sporting votes. But we thought both players did exactly the same in terms of gaming, so we wanted to kind of cover both people. So we've got a Goblin Town and Dark Denizens list from Mr. Pete Harvey. He's got the King, Gollum, 17 goblins, Grinner, 12 goblins, 3 goblin captains with 10 goblins each, with one with 11, and then the Spider Queen and a Bat Swarm. And then Ian's list is a list that I really like the look of: Arnor, Khazad-dûm, and the Misty Mountains. So Arvedui leading some Warriors of Arnor and some Rangers, Malbeth leading some Warriors of Arnor, 3 Hobbit Archers and a Ranger, and then a Dwarf King for that kind of cheap march, Hero of Valor, leading 8 Khazad Guard, 2 Dwarfs with Shield, and then the second best big flappy boy in the game, Gwahir, or my second favourite. Best
The
is
first
debatable.
best flappy boy in the game being John's labia.
I
Was not expecting that.
So for context, did we mention? So Pete Harvey missed out off of most sporting votes.
Yeah.
I think Ian had one more, which is extremely close. And you know, Pete's a lovely guy, so that's no shade to him. They both had votes. I just think I think Ian had one more.
Yeah.
Ian's a lovely guy as well, for the record. He's great crack. But so Goblin Town and Spider Queen, I mean, that's very much kind of a standard list. 550 with Goblin Town with the 150 points that is the Spider Queen and the Bat Swarm dropped in. I like the list ish. I'm not a huge the Spider Queen adds so many tools to a Goblin Town list. You can get a lot in there. It's worth noting he's gone for 3 captains. He doesn't have a mercenary warband, which is one of the things you might have. He doesn't have a scribe. And part of that is when you do the Yellow Alliance thing, the numbers get a bit awkward. So you might notice that he's got almost full warbands. I think he could have up to 5 more goblins, but that's it. Or he could take stuff in his Spider Queen's warband, but that's obviously a bit more expensive, like the wargs and stuff. Which I mean, I would consider that, by the way. I think Felwargs are a good choice. Yeah. But if you're going to take a mercenary captain, you then have to have an awkwardly large mercenary warband, which can be bad on certain boards because you have to deploy them in terrain. And some
you
terrain
also have to take a Valor from that list, right?
Yeah, but
The Goblin King.
Huh?
King's a legend.
You're not gonna.
Oh wait, is Goblin Town a mercenary is part of Goblin Town?
Yeah.
Oh,
Jesus Christ!
Oh my God, Stephen.
get good.
Embarrassing.
I think this list is like the Spider Queen is really solid,
Yeah.
But it's only, I say only 68 models. It's only
it
68
feels small.
goblins, and they
Yeah.
from experience, I've used Goblin Town a lot. They do die really quick.
They do.
I know you
but
got the Spider Queen in there.
68
But you see
is,
like
well,
sorry, Dave, you go.
No, you go.
You see like 68 model Goblin Towns at like 550, 600 points.
Mm.
The numbers feel small. Maybe that's just the Spider Queen added in there.
Yeah, I mean the Spider Queen adds an awful lot. Spider Queen and a Bat Swarm, no less, as well. So the Spider Queen will win you a lot of games that Goblin Town can't win otherwise.
Yeah.
Do you think as well you could have just got a two-handed weapon on one of those goblins just for the extra point?
Yeah, I think it's offensive to me that Pete didn't.
Yeah, why would you not?
There's a
Why would you not
convenience
do that?
argument. So for I'm taking Goblin Town to a 650.
I don't want to hear it, John.
That's
I've
inconvenient
got
for us to talk
86
about,
of
John.
them. I think the list would be better if I switched 2 mercs into 2-handed goblins. However, doing that means I'd have to differentiate those 2 goblins
So you
from
can't
the
just say
75
all your
other
two-handed
goblins that I've got.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If my
just have a
opponent-
loom band. Like, this
Yeah,
guy's
loom-
got
I
a
was gonna
two-handed
say,
weapon.
I already
Loom
use
band.
loom bands on the captains because they get lost.
Oh, John, that's a you problem, bud.
Yeah. It's a
Anyway,
quality of life thing for the Goblin Town player. and
So
being
moving
considerate of your
back to the
opponents.
lists.
Yeah.
I mean, Goblin Town, as long as Lords of Battle doesn't come up, or to the death. I mean, it's not the worst to the death, as long as Lords of Battle doesn't come up.
it doesn't have a banner though, is the problem.
Yeah, I mean, to the death is not ideal, but Lords of Battle is worse.
Yeah, I don't know which.
Significant worse.
He went 5-1, so I don't know which round he lost.
We could look at Longshanks. In fact, I will look at Longshanks while you guys
crazy.
carry on.
What do we think of Ian's list?
I like it, but also it's bit of a Frankenstein's monster. I think it could probably be. It's a pretty hard. He's trimmed all of the fat out of this pretty effectively. I'm never quite sure about
what's
the value
list's
of
like
Malbeth
idea?
here.
What's it trying to get at?
The point of this list is he wants a good amount of D6 or higher semi-elite troops. He wants March. He wants a striker. He wants Guahir. So Guahir is the key point in this list. For me, the bit that almost doesn't make sense is Malbeth. Like, because Malbeth is good and brings more Warriors of Arnor, but Malbeth's
There's not
save
enough of them.
Yeah, you sort of don't get the criticality, especially if you're dropping hobbits in. That's the other thing. For me, the more hobbits you have, the less effective Malbeth is. I mean, he's only got, other than
22.
Ardui, he's got
22 guys plus
22
Albadui
guys,
who can get
yeah.
Malbeth saves.
and Malbeth himself, obviously, which is like about half of his
Obviously.
army, which it's not useless. And I think maybe I'm underselling it, but I think the list could be maybe a little stronger in that regard, a little bit more focused. But I mean, Dwarf Kings are an excellent drop alliance, especially with stuff like Guai, especially with stuff like Ardui. Like Ali really rates the idea of like Durin and Ardui and a Dwarf King as a combo, because you can get all of the really effective pieces from, basically because Khazad-dûm don't have a great alliance matrix. You get all the effective pieces from Khazad-dûm. You get the cheap Khazad Guard, you get the really effective Iron Guard, strength 4, fight 4 troops, and then you can say, right, we need spears for this. Ardui is a hero of valor. He's cheap, he's effective, he's a 3-attack striker, and he has he can lead 15 boys.
And if,
I guess
if he's not tied to being your leader as well, then you can actually
yeah,
get him stuck in
he's
a bit.
pretty effective. He's a pretty effective hero for 80 points. He's pretty good. Obviously Guahir is the leader here. Dwarf Kings are also effective, so it kind of all adds up together. It makes quite an effective combo. I don't know. I don't know if Malbeth swapping Malbeth for something else would be better, or it would be just more compromised, because I think he's already really towing the line on numbers. Like getting this up to nearly 40 models, he's got 39. That was the thing that impressed me, because every list I've ever written with Guahir in it below 800 struggles with numbers pretty heavily.
So
now
I guess
that Lake Town is killed anyway as an
It's
alliance.
worth noting that for both of these lists, they both lost to the eventual winner of the event. We will see in a moment. The Goblin Town list lost in Assassination.
Assassination, right?
And the Arnor soup lost in Domination.
Interesting.
So I understand the Assassination one definitely, because when you've got that many Goblin captains to watch out for,
That's when John takes the loom bands off.
And
The main-
also, the Spider Queen in Assassination is both an excellent tool, but also an excellent target. Because if you're
Yeah,
not,
to a degree, yes, that's true. With stuff like heroic accuracy and shooting, it's pretty hard to stop. Like, I mean, if you're against, I once played a Legolas versus Spider Queen Assassination, and it's like
Crossbows.
there's no point being coy because it's literally just 3 points. You know.
Yeah.
Spider Queen can't save it. So,
shall
anyway,
we
let's move on.
move on to the second place list?
Congratulations to Ian, the 3rd place.
So our silver medalist was Jack Thurlback. He brought Halls of Thranduil and Survivors of Lake Town. So he's got 36 models, 12 bow. He's bringing Thranduil himself on foot with heavy armor, an additional Elven Made sword, and a Circlet of Kings. He's leading 6 Mirkwood Elves with shield, 4 with elf bow and glaive, 1 with a banner and glaive, 2 Palace Guard with spear and shield, 1 Mirkwood Cav, 1 Sentinel. Then he's got Leggy on a horse with 5 more Mirkwood Elves with shield, 3 elves with bow and glaive, 1 more Mirkwood Cav, and then he's got a Lake Town Militia captain to bulk up the numbers, leading 5 Lake Town Militia with shield and spear, 1 Lake Town Militia with spear, and 3 Lake Town Militia with bow and spear.
I really like this list. I think it's got a lot of interesting tools. So the Mirkwood section brings a bit of cav mobility, high fight value, bodyguard, a sentinel, and good shooting. And obviously you've got Legolas. Thranduil's an absolute monster for shredding troops. And then the cheeky little Survivors of Lake Town drop, where you've got March and what is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 9, 10 models for just over 100 points.
Yeah. So
it's very nice.
This is like almost exactly how I would build this. For me, basically the only thing that I don't like in this list is I don't like the shield on the Lake Town Militia captain. I think it's pointless. I think 5 points, you just get another Lake Town Militia in. Because I think every number you can increase is valuable, and that wouldn't even get you a break point, but I still think it's worth it. Or you could use those 5 points to upgrade, like give your Lake Town Militia who doesn't have a shield, and then throw, I don't know, turn one of the shield guys into a Palace Guard or something. I think that works.
Glaives.
I do
Mirkwood Elves.
Or you could whack a couple of glaives on shield guys. Yeah, just something.
I do
to spend
disagree with a shield point. I think once the militia captain's done its 2 points of might, if you suddenly got a, albeit fight 3 hero with pseudo 4 attacks to just hold somewhere.
I don't think it matters. You've got glaives to support him. Like 5 points on a shield on a hero like that isn't almost never worth it for my money. Like orc captains, don't give them shields. I think it's worth it.
How valuable do we think the Circlet of Kings is? Because theoretically it is.
Oh, I think Circle of Kings is very good.
Really
yeah.
good.
It gives you a lot of control.
Just for the terror alone is like, here we go.
That spell always being up is amazing, and Nature's Wrath for free once per game is not nothing to be sniffed at either, especially considering it's a 6.
It lets you, the one turn you win the move or you win the priority, you set everything up, and then you go, okay, I can either target your hero to, I mean, realistically, you don't want to be hitting a hero, but you can pick a bubble and be like, cool, I've now got +1 to wound, you're knocked down. I could 2-hand to make it +2 to wound, conditionally. It really lets you just, because having played against Halls of Thranduil a couple of times, it lets you just go, cool, this little 3-inch radius bit, that is now going to be under my control for this turn.
Exactly.
Even the fact you've got to think about where Thranduil is going to go, just because you know he can do that, is a play point.
Yeah.
Like you can use Thranduil almost as like a guess where he's going to end up, and then you have to kind of put your heroes in certain places to try and get a will to resist it.
It's the Blitzcrank effect from League of Legends, where the threat of the ability is almost as important as the ability itself.
I would say
you're going to get more Blitzkrieg there, which is a very different point of history rather than game.
What I would say, if I'm wish listing for this, I think I'd like Thranduil to have a horse as well, because you don't have to use it. You don't have to play around him being on a horse. I think the ability to reposition him for stuff is so important, especially since his main effect is, like, I fully understand why people don't prioritize the horse because it's 10 points, or because people sort of feel like the elk is important. I don't like the elk. I think the base is too big.
It's the elven made blade, isn't it? The additional sword that makes you stop.
That's what I was going
doing
to say. Are you swapping the sword for the horse?
No,
No,
absolutely not.
The horse is literally a 10-point mobility upgrade. It's like taking
Yeah.
ponies on your Thorin's company. It's just to get you where you want to go. And especially since I was already saying I feel like the shield on the militia captain can go away. I would honestly, if I drop that, I would also be comfortable dropping the shields on the Laketown militia and giving him a horse. But also, this thing not having blinding light, I can see why you might want the shields on the militia.
Well, I guess he could always run
want
up,
too
drop
much to
an
waste.
Nature's Wrath, and then dismount.
If you want to dismount, that's always an option. But for me, a mounted Fight 7 hero is never, even though you don't get the benefit of the extra attacks, like
You get the
starting
knockdown.
from, you get knocked down if you want it. It's just the options. Like I
Is
would
he
always,
still 3 attacks, fight 7 on the horse.
of course.
Yes.
Yeah. It's just you don't get the extra attack for everyone in base contact. If you did, it would be unbelievably great.
There is also the argument
5
that
attacks on
if
the
you
charge.
drop the
Yeah.
Laketown Militia shield, you can put a bow on Thranduil, which he's got a 2+ shoot value with a strength 3 bow. It's not insignificant.
If I already had the horse on him and I had 5 points left over, I would consider it. But I think usually I probably wouldn't bother. 2+ shoot value is kind of nice though. It's true.
How do we
think
feel?
This Thranduil, sorry, John. I think this Thranduil is what I would say the baseline for, unless you're really scrimping on points.
Agreed,
The bits that you should always put on him.
Yeah.
For let's say 600 points plus is those 3 bits of war gear.
Yeah.
Really good.
I really like how Jack's selected his troops as well. The way he split them out. 2 Microcav is great. A Sentinel is great. Just 2 Palace Guard is exactly right for me. I think Palace Guard are massively overpointed, but Bodyguard plus access to Fight 6 is so valuable. You can't not have any.
Yeah.
I think he's done a great job with this. And also, this
That's
is
exactly
his
what I was
first
going to
GBHL.
ask about the
His
Palace
first,
Guard.
it's his first GBHL 100 podium, so congrats to Jack.
Yeah.
Well done.
Congrats, Jack.
Cool. Shall we look at somebody who it's definitely not their first
No,
GBHL
I don't
podium?
think we need to look at this.
Okay, we'll skip straight through this one.
First place is Jay Achar. Wait, what? It's Jake Rawson with Isengard, taking Jay Acharya's Isengard idea.
I love the pick choice. For
Let's be honest, he's not taking his idea. Everyone knows that Isengard crossbows at the moment are good. It is Jake Rawson with Isengard. He's got 40 models, 15 bows, of which 14 are crossbows, I believe.
Yeah, he's got 13 crossbowmen, Vrasku, and Lurtz.
Lurtz who has an Uruk-hai bow.
So technically 16 shots, but Lurtz with shield is the leader. 4 Uruk-hai warriors with crossbow. A demo team, love to see it outside of the Legion. 6 Uruk-hai warrior with pike, 1 Uruk-hai warrior with pike, shield, and banner for that excellent -2 to the dual rule. I think.
We'll come on to that in a minute, but I have opinions about that shield. I actually talked to Jake about that yesterday as well.
1 Krebane for that insane mobility. Vrasku with 5 Uruk-hai warriors with crossbow, 6 warriors with pike and a Krebane. And last but not least, Goroth Ironskin, one of my favorite heroes. 4 Uruk-hai warriors with crossbow, 5 warriors with pike, a wild man of Dunland.
Just thrown in for good measure.
Yeah. It's Isengard, it's crossbow spam. It's got some good mobility in the Krebane. Dave, talk us through your thoughts on the banner.
So that's 1 point left over, and there is no other thing that can be spent on that is obviously better than it. Well, obviously a strong choice. Like he doesn't have any models that don't have pikes or crossbows. Neither of whom can carry shields. All I would say with that is, essentially, putting a shield on a model with a pike and a banner means that you've given yourself no defensive bonus and a second -1 to win the fight at all times. So he said essentially he wanted to have the access to shielding if he wanted it, and I was saying like I don't get that because 2 dice with -2 is worse than 1 dice with -1.
Yeah,
like the overall result. I guess it's 3 versus 2 because you have a banner reroll. I was saying to him that is actually just objectively worse. He said basically it didn't really come up, which I'm not surprised because it's a banner. Because you don't even get the defense bonus against shooting. There's literally no purpose to it. It just makes it worse.
For those people not aware, if you have a pike and a shield, it's like having a bow and shield in that you don't get the defense bonus from the shield, but you also get a -1 to your dual roll.
Yeah, because of a pike and a shield. Unless you have the phalanx special rule, you
unless you're an Easterling, baby.
Well,
There
yeah,
is
Of
the
course.
option to change the Wild Man of Dunland into an orc and give it a spear, maybe.
yeah, that might have been better. Or I like that. I think the Wild Man of Dunland is a better shout. I think maybe I would just say I'll give him a weapon swap to a mace or something like that.
Yeah, maybe.
Or
What
give
do
him
you
the
think about
two-handed. Oh no, you didn't put this in, but he did have the two-handed axe on the Wild Man of Dunland as well. By
Oh,
the
he
way,
did he?
yeah, he did. So at that point, so otherwise, I would say buying the two-handed axe is probably worth it. But
So
because you
where's the
did already
point
have it,
that we are missing then?
the point you're missing is the Wild Man of Dunland second thing.
Okay,
I
so but
think.
it's already 701.
Is it? Oh well, in that case, I don't know. Maybe he played a 702 point list. I'd have to double check, but I'm pretty sure on the list on Longshanks it had that written down. If it didn't, then I
It's
would say
just with
that's
axe. It just says with axe.
yeah.
So
The
that's
axe
standard
is
war gear.
6 points though, because with axe, because it's an optional two-handed axe. I think I could be reading that wrong, but that's how I read it.
Oh, tell
I'm
us
not
down
looking-
below in the comments.
Scandal.
Right answer.
Regarding the bomb, what do you think about the bomb outside of the Legion? I think
mean-
it's got quite a good board control element to it.
But the bomb is crazy. I mean, like Lurtz with the bomb in his warband is always great because you go second. It's like cool. If you don't screen all your warbands properly, which apparently they didn't in that round, I asked them about it. You can just be like, all right, Lurtz is coming on. He's coming on behind you, and then they can do nothing about you setting the bomb off and blowing up potentially a half of one of their warbands, assuming it actually goes off. Which
Yeah.
one out of 6 times it won't, but like that's worth it for sure. So yeah, bombs are great. They basically are the perfect counter to getting right up in the face of a list like this because you can just sit there and blast things in many scenarios, and then when they come close, you pile in with pikes and solid troops, and you can blow up scary heroes. Or even like what Jake was saying, what he was doing was he was mostly just blowing up a percentage of their army, like just get as big of a body count as possible off of the bomb explosion, and then just use the fact that you have Urukai and pikes to win fights, basically. Yeah, it's a solid list. I think unflatteringly, I might say it's not a very interesting list. In the sense that
Cookie cutter Isengard, isn't it?
a little bit, although in fairness, this isn't exactly. I think this is sort of the feeling, the effect of people just mainly Jay has been proving since the nerf just on Helm's Deep. It's like, okay, so if we're admitting that the ballistas without the full rerolls are not good enough to justify taking the crappy heroes in that Legion. So now it's saying, okay, well, actually, Lurtz, Vrasku, Gorolf is a really solid trio of heroes.
Yeah.
Actually, even if you do take ballistas, you'd still say, all right, I'd rather have Vrasku, I'd rather have Lurtz than a not that effective reroll rule. And the bomb is still good even without the guarantee that it's going to work that you get in the Legion, basically.
I guess
Yeah,
I
it's
better
another-
buy some Isengard.
You've still got to play around the potential of it doing what it's meant to do, haven't you? That's the
Yeah.
problem.
And this list is hurt a lot by a blinding light as well. Like a lot. Like if this list has to play it to like an elf list with blinding light, like a Rivendell list, a pure Rivendell at 700 looks at this. If they've got 11 bows or something with blinding light, you'd be like, all right, mate, you can stand there with your crossbows. I'll stand here with my bows that wound you on 5s, and you'll hit me. I'll hit you and you won't hit me, and I'll just win the game that way. So those kind of lists aren't very meta, but at the same time, it's like this list has very clear weaknesses. Like pure Lothlorien, it doesn't like either.
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
It's also got a lot of it's only got 12, well, I suppose 12 D6 models is still pretty good. But there is a squishier. Sorry, no, it's not 12 D6
it
models.
has
It doesn't
zero
have any
D6
D6.
models. There are 0 D6 models apart from Lurtz.
Apart from Lurtz, yeah. So it would actually look at any elf list and go, oh, actually, you've got blinding light and you outfight me, and you're
Yeah.
winning me on 5s.
I wouldn't want to get. I think if you have the bows, you wouldn't get into a fight with this at all. You just stand there and shoot it to death because the pikes and the strength 4 pikes are actually amazingly good. But if you don't have
Yeah.
to consider that, you just you pick a bit of it apart, and then suddenly they're struggling with numbers.
Yeah.
It's a good. This is a great list. It's like really solid, but it's not. It's not anything resembling unbeatable. I think if blinding light, as I keep saying, get blinding light in the meta, and this kind of list won't work anymore.
Yeah, I think we're definitely seeing a bit of a resurgence of shooting.
I think
So
people just
do-
remembered that crossbows are kick ass.
Yeah, start taking blinding light people, or just take 86 models, and then you don't have to. Doesn't matter. You kill 20 with shooting. Don't care. Right, moving on. Let's look at our next tournament of the weekend.
Mhm.
It was the Monster Mash,
Oh,
hosted
he's so
by
handsome.
friend of the channel, Tom Patterson, owner extraordinaire of Atomic Cards. Check out their website as well if you don't want to shop at Firestorm. Shop at Atomic Cards. They had 18 players at their 850 point tournament, playing 3 games. Tom added in a really cool rule to kind of make this 80 a bit more fun, a bit more unique. So players could bring one monster which acted as a banner, and it was outside of the ally matrix. That means you could bring Gulliver with good armies, you could bring Gwahir with evil armies, and it was really kind of see what stuff cooked up. Perfect theme for an 80, really kind of fits that sort of vibe of a nice fun tournament. So that's why somebody did exactly what I would have done and took Vanquishers of the Necromancer with Gulliver. Shout out to whoever that person was. A man
That
after
was
my
that
own
was
heart.
Nat Sinclair.
What a villain.
I have it on good faith. Although personally, I just so I was chatting to Tom about this, and he was like, "I'm really nervous that everyone's just going to take the filthiest combinations possible." But I was looking through some of the lists, and sorry, this is a little bit of a tangent. Someone took Rangers of Mirkwood Legendary Legion with Treebeard as the ally.
Nice.
And I don't know if Tom was like, yeah, he'll count as a tree for the purposes of your special rule. I assume not, but it would be nice. In my head, Tom did do that.
Well, it's not a
Um,
tree, is it? He's an ent. So
Oh
Yeah.
shit, yeah, obviously.
Come
John,
on.
you know what to cut in here. Um,
No editing, completely
but,
raw.
but yeah, we had a lot of very interesting, like we had
I've
an
got a
army
slight
of
gripe
Lake
with
Town
this.
with the Watcher. So there was the lake, there's the Watcher. Lovely.
I was very excited about this event, and I was second on the reserve list, and only one person dropped out, and therefore I didn't get to go. So
Someone did take
That's
a
too many
As
players
of
for you, mate.
Legion list.
that's my gripe.
Where their main list was 2 Goblin mercenary captains with 5 mercenary goblins, and then their optional monster was Smaug. So shout out you absolute legend. That was Aaron Wright, I believe.
Yeah, winner of Best Painted. So, as
Yeah.
alluded to, Aaron got Best Painted, and Most Sporting was won by Mark Newham. Let's have a look at Aaron's fantastic Smaug. I don't know where the Goblin Mercs are, but I mean, Smaug's the star of the show here. So it's, I think, the second pod in a row we've had Smaug on.
Yeah.
Fantastic paint job. The flames, I
Fire is so
don't know
good.
how he has done the flames, but they're really good. I don't know whether there's like an LED inside or whether it's just
Yeah,
fantastic
possible.
painting.
It might be one of those
Really
ones where he's gotten like, oh, it looks like it can be removed, I assume, from the top right picture.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's some really stunning work.
I actually really like the kind of marble effect on the base.
Yes.
Where he's got like the gold, like he hasn't just painted the base rim black, he's actually continued that marble effect. It looks really cool. Really looks like the marbly stuff you see in the films.
Yeah.
Right.
Marvelous.
No, not Marvel films. Lord of the Rings, Hobbit films.
I'm going to do that again. Marvelous
You
work.
scumbags.
Third place.
His opinion on the model.
Yeah. Oh, we made him mute himself. He's done. Let's look at third place at the Monster Mash. It was Daniel Donovan bringing 7 whole models. He's got the Balrog, Cave Drake with 2 Warg Marauders, Moria Goblin model, 1 Bat Swarm, and a 2nd Cave Drake. And because our kind sponsors, Tabletop Admiral, don't let you make illegal lists, I couldn't add his monster, so I've showed it on screen. He had a Troll Brute.
I was going to say 100 points down. That's really, really strong, but it was 12 with it as well.
It really makes me very happy that someone took what Tom actually wanted to the event, which was just like a crazy monster list, and did really well with it. So shout out Daniel, well done.
Well,
that's not a slight at anybody who didn't, because
the rules pack very much incentivized the opposite of that. The rules pack was like, make some nonsense combo, please.
Yeah, and that's what I would have done
like,
at the event. I would have done the nonsense combo. I'm not saying I'm above that. I'm just saying it's nice to see someone took this wild list.
Shout
and
out to this one Goblin Warrior as well.
Yeah.
As far as I'm aware, all of the monsters count as banners.
No worries.
Yes, all monsters counted as banners.
Yeah, so they're all banners to themselves as well. So
it
they're
does
all
make them a bit
rerolls.
better.
Yeah, they're all getting the rerolls. Like
Suddenly the
probably
barrel's
higher
getting
fight
that
than
fifth
most
dice.
things.
Yeah.
Barrel
like,
doesn't
it's
even have
probably-
heroic strike. What an
I
idiot.
would
As
have
long as you
loved
can
to have
roll well,
seen
it does bits.
like one goblin captain, 10 or I guess 9 cave trolls, and then the troll brute just like leading them as a bigger cave troll.
I like that.
all as a banner.
There's not a lot we can say about this list because unfortunately it's a very off-standard list, and this
And
is
you'll
gonna
get
really ruin our
massive
podium.
Chad points.
Um,
Well, no,
yeah,
because
the
it
big
podium
Chad
stats.
points.
doesn't go in the podium stats though.
Oh yeah, this is an 80, so we'll
It's
see.
an 80.
Oh, sorry. No, it was a
They're
90.
No,
No,
it's
it wasn't.
irrelevant.
No,
No,
it's
it's
an
an
80.
80. It doesn't matter.
Actually,
No
I
one
do need
cares.
to double check. I think I might have added it to the stats, so I'm gonna have to go back and remove them.
Oh no, it wasn't
But
80.
cool.
My
But yeah,
apologies. As a ranking
big
officer, I should
Chad
know that.
points to Daniel for using the troll brute.
Yeah.
Troll
Our
brutes are funky and fun to use.
second place list sponsors Tabletop Admiral actually let me create this list in full. So he was Erebor, Reclaimed, and the Misty Mountains. He had Thorin Oakenshield on Goat with Orcris, leading 10 Iron Hills dwarfs with spear, 2 dwarfs with crossbow, 2 dwarfs with crossbow and spear, and a Goat Rider. Then he had Dane on his Warboar, leading 9 dwarfs with spear, 1 dwarf with banner and spear, 2 dwarfs with crossbow, 2 dwarfs with crossbow and spear, and another Goat Rider. And then my second favourite Flappy Boy, Gwahir.
That's a familiar model. Got one of those right here.
Hey.
Oh, there he is. That's funky. I like that he's got a reroll on all his warbands.
I was
This
gonna
is
say that,
This
yeah.
is essentially pure because the monster doesn't count. So this is essentially pure Erebor Reclaimed. Thorin gets a reroll for himself. Dane's got a banner for backup, and then Gwahir's a monster, so Gwahir's going to be rerolling for himself as well, which is pretty cool. I think this is a very sensible list. Low in numbers, but that's a trifecta of very killy troops. Very killy heroes, sorry. Day 9-foot Lord of the Iron Hills and Thorin Oakenshield, King of the Mountain, both mounted, is a particular favourite combo of mine. I use them at 1,000 points, those two, Biffa and Galadriel. And they really cover each other's bases well. They're both extremely beefy, very effective. The thing that really makes it work is Dane has March, which means that you don't have to compromise your combo for bringing in a captain so that you can go faster. You can just be like, right, I'm going to go brrr and also go faster.
Pump those dwarven
It's-
legs, boys.
It's also like it's the list that doesn't seem to take the piss with the rules of the tournament as well. Like it's just like you would expect to see dwarves and Gwahir. Like
is
not
just
saying
a-
Iron Hills dwarves, but like
Yeah.
you'd see dwarves and Gwahir before. Therefore, like it's like a fairly standardized list. in
Well,
that-
it's
in
a
that
solid
sense.
700-point list with Gwahir thrown on top, but also
Yeah.
you don't have to compromise any of your stuff because Gwahir's there. You know, you essentially get the green lines. This is a tangent, but I do wonder if maybe Dane has March because in the movie he sort of arrives from the Iron Hills in about half an hour. Thorin like sends word to Dane, and then the next day the entire army shows up, and you're like, "What? What? Well, how did that happen?" One of
That's
those
one
little
way to walk.
moments. It's because they did a heroic march. That's
Yeah.
of course that's what happened.
Does make sense. And
Yeah,
it also
it's a good
explains
list.
why when he gets to the battle, he doesn't actually really do much because he's out of might.
Yeah, it's true.
Gets deep
He's
hit
like, oh,
immediately.
you're going to go kill Azog, are you? Have fun.
get on
if
with
you
it, King."
die, I will inherit your title as king. So
Smart. I I think this is actually just a decent 850 list that got made better
Yeah.
slightly by the rules. I think this is good shit.
yeah. Shout out Sean. We were actually chatting the other day. So
I see him.
Okey
He posts in the
dokey.
Guardian Discord, doesn't he?
yeah,
He
I
does,
think he does.
yes.
Yeah.
I see him.
Yeah, he's
I
fairly
don't-
regular.
doesn't
Let's
get in
have
the
a look
voice
at
chat, so
our
I forget that he's
winning
there, but he's
list.
the regular chat.
Yeah.
Go on then.
So our winner was Dan Watkins, bringing Rise of the Necromancer Legendary Legion. So the Necromancer, the Witch King, Kamul, Lingering Shadow, the Forsaken, 2 Abyssal Knights, and then in a definitely not kind of fluff crime, bringing Gwahir alongside him. What do we think of this one?
Very
Invisible
themey.
Gwahir.
What a whack combo. I love it. That's just bonkers. I don't know why you'd think to do that as well. I think it's great. What do we know what scenarios they played?
I know one of them was
Yes.
Contest of Champions. That's all I know.
Seize the Prize was third round.
Okay,
Contest
yeah.
was second round, and Command the Battlefield was
Well, Command the
first round.
Battlefield. How the hell do you win that? I remember if he was against a list that had even maybe he was against Smaug or something at Command the Battlefield, because I have no idea how you'd win with 8 models. But what a
I'll
legend.
tell you how he was playing against. Oh, actually, what was he playing against?
Let's look at this.
Oh, okay. He was playing against Breaking of the Fellowship with the Balrog.
Well, he just like followed them out of
the
Moria.
real Balrog was the friends we made along the way.
Yeah.
That's great. Well, hang on, which one didn't he take? So that list interests me immediately. 850, he must have not taken someone.
He didn't take
Necromancer, Nazgûl.
No.
Oh, he's taken Khamûl, but he hasn't taken Slayer of Men.
I was talking about the one you just mentioned, because Breaking the Fellowship is.
I reckon Pippin.
Sorry, I think he took all
Slayer
the
of Men.
Hobbits.
Crossbows.
Yeah, so the thing for me, okay, so we'll talk about the one we're looking at. I like the Forsaken. I think Abyssal Knights are cheeky, but also not that good. Maybe, I don't really know. I think a Slayer of Men is probably marginally better than Khamûl, because Khamûl doesn't have a single-handed weapon. He doesn't have Burly. He does have 3 attacks, but he's always using the -1. I think Slayer of Men are better. Abyssal Knights are particularly fun in stuff like Seize the Prize, because you can, like, if you pick up on one of them, you can send the other one towards the board edge and run away backwards with your main one, essentially. And then they just snap towards each other. One of them can just join the other one in the priority phase for free, which is crazy good. But then again, if you're playing Seize the Prize with a wizard who can cast twice and Gwaihir, it's like, I mean, why wouldn't you just use Gwaihir?
In this list, I really don't like Khamûl. I think he's one of the ones that goes down easiest quite early on, because he is more likely to lose the fights. I mean, these things are killing anyway, usually. I would have taken a Slayer of Men instead of Khamûl, personally. I think also the paired teleporty Abyssal Knights are really good for objective play. Like, really good.
Well, I wouldn't say really good. I think they're probably worse than taking 2 Slayers of Men on balance, but in the Monsters gameplay as well. The main thing for me that they have is the Elven made weapon.
Actually, I would have been tempted to drop Khamûl and the Forsaken for 2 Slayers of Men.
I think the Forsaken mathematically is better than a Slayer of Men. I think that's actually true, because rerolling to wound is actually better than +1. I think technically,
yes, unless you're winning on 6s. I think.
I think when you get to like the 6s by 6s kind of region, I think +1 is better. But
Stephen, use your maths degree. How does this work?
Okay, I'm telling you because I've looked at it before. When you get to 6s, it's worse. Anyway, let's move on.
We go too far down the rabbit hole. I've very quickly on the fly adjusted the statistics to remove the egregious Monster Mash 80-point results that the intern accidentally get left into the graph. So without any further ado, I don't know what the count is now. These are our GBHL 100 in blue and GBHL 90 podium results for the year. So for our Spotify listeners, leading the pack for hundreds, we've got Isengard and Riders of Theoden with 3 podiums apiece, and then a smattering of armies with 100 podium apiece. We've got Army of Lake Town, Dragon Emperor, Dunland, Beornings, Dark Denizens, Far Harad, Goblin Town, Grand Army of the South, Halls of Thranduil, Survivors of Lake Town, Black Riders, Theodred's Guard, Varys of Khand. And then leading the pack for 90s, we've got Army of Lake Town with 4 90 podiums, giving them 5 podiums in total that we count. Dragon Emperor is on 2 podiums at 90s, Minas Tirith on 3 podiums, and then a smattering of lists on 2 podiums: Angmar, Assault on Lothlorien, Azog's Hunters, Depths of Moria, Legendary Legion, Lothlorien, Serpent Horde, Thorin's Company, with a decent-sized handful of lists on 1 single 90 podium: Arnor, Assault upon Helm's Deep, Azog's Legion, Cirith Ungol, Defenders of Erebor, Erebor Reclaimed, Fell Beings, Mordor, Numenor, Rivendell, Army of Dale, Fiefdoms, Men of the West, Misty Mountains, and Vanquishers of the Necromancer.
Okay.
There's some stats.
Where's the Mordor and Serpent Horde in the 100s?
That's what I was thinking. The feared I mean, it will turn up because we're about to have a lot of
Yeah.
700 and 800
Well, I
point
mean,
tournaments.
this is the
so-
first time. This is the first 100. Well, no, I guess I don't think it's quite so good in Good v Evil. It's good, but it doesn't do its business as well against
Well,
common good armies.
It's evil, Dave. That's the point of it.
So what hundreds have we had so far? We've had Warhammer World, Into the West,
GP.
GP, and
Yeah, 600 and
Grey Havens
450
now. Yeah.
don't count for anything essentially for that list because it doesn't function at those points levels.
Yeah.
700 does function very well, but as I was just saying, in Good v Evil, it doesn't. It fights better against some of the more common evil factions. Like it doesn't like elves that much. I've heard the argument that Rise of Theoden's good into it. I'm not 100% convinced, but maybe that is the case. I've certainly never struggled too much against Rise of Theoden with it, but people tell me that they think it's a good counter.
Well, it's definitely kind of probably the biggest target and villain that people, especially around kind of the 700 points, that people are thinking about when they're trying to think, oh, what list do I need to counter?
Well,
but I think that's why.
Maybe
I mean, we've seen
maybe that's changing. Looking at this,
Yeah,
I mean,
potentially.
Isengard, pure Isengard winning is. I see that as an extension of Assault on Helm's Deep from last year more than anything.
Yeah.
Because it's essentially just doing what that list was doing in the New World Order, where you're just prioritizing the crossbows more, prioritizing slightly more effective heroes and slightly more effective pieces like Warg Riders and Crebanes, and stuff like Gorov, stuff like Vrasku makes it all that little bit stronger. Like Vrasku can't be underestimated. It can't be overstated how much better he makes the level of shooting that the crossbows can bring, even like versus like, you know, the one captain with crossbow you might bring from Helm's Deep if you were doing that. It's just so much stronger. Like shooting twice, hitting on threes with the crossbow is extreme.
Yeah.
And
So
the might points can
it's
swing.
very
Heroic accuracy as well against defense 4 back lines is also
Exactly, yeah. You can be like, if, for example, say your opponent had a Dragon Knight and they put him in the second rank, you could be like, right, accuracy with Vrasku, everyone shooting that Dragon Knight, and if you kill him, you know, it takes away hefty points value.
It is a very clear example of Mum. Can we get Assault on Helm's Deep? We've got Assault on Helm's Deep at home, but it's better.
Yeah, that doesn't really work for that reason, to be honest. Because it's just, I wouldn't say it's better. It's not as good as Assault on Helm's Deep was at its peak, because that was extreme.
Yeah, it was
because
oppressive.
re-rolling ballistas is horrible. Ballistas were still good, but it's pretty telling that there were multiple lists Isengard there, and the one without the ballistas is the one that won.
Yeah,
I think that's pretty clear that we're in the crossbows world now.
It is nice to see a big spread of different lists that are podiuming hundreds now.
That was, to be fair, that was the case before, I feel, as well. Like it's just certain things went through little phases of being very popular. Like towards the end of the year, Mordor Serpent Horde was popular. Earlier in the year, Assault on Lothlorien and Assault on Helm's Deep were very popular, and Army of Lake Town had a large presence, even if it wasn't being seen on the podiums quite yet.
Is that not all the meta is though? What's popular? What's the flavor of the month? What
Yeah, it is,
people
but
see
what he
doing
was-
well and they take it themselves, and it does more well because of the snowballing effect of more people taking it.
Yeah.
And then people counter it with other things, and that becomes the new meta.
That is basically the definition of competitive meta. Yes.
I thought so.
Yeah.
Do you
Thank
want
you for
doing a
defining.
bit?
You've literally defined the meta there,
Right.
in a way that Dave Farmer did do for about a year and a half, where he did
Hey.
literally define the meta.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I guess the takeaway going forward, Dave's told us already, is take Blinding Light to your tournaments at the moment. That's the secret sauce.
Don't take it now because everyone's going to take it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's have a look at everybody's
Loads of
favorite
armies with
part.
no shooting, both blinding lighting against each other would be something I'd love to see.
Let's move on to everyone's favorite part of the show, mainly the viewers' favorite part. Questions and comments.
Is it not your favourite part, John?
My favorite part is all the ridiculous amount of YouTube money we make by our kind viewers
We haven't
staying
worked for months.
staying to this point in the show. Yeah.
Dave's just walked to get his pay packet. He's
Yeah.
back.
This isn't actually this red thing. This is actually the finest silk you can afford. So
Yeah, paid for by the YouTube money, and the new sponsorship from Firestorm Games. Link down below. Our first comment is from Alexander Anglin 9447. He says, I play fiefdoms almost exclusively for my good army because I just absolutely love them. I love that some are finally podiumed with a wall of foot knights, as those models have the greatest strip of all warriors in the game, in my opinion. Though I do wish they were 1 point cheaper on foot. It hurts to see them at 11 points when Fountain Court Guard and Black Nuns exist to fill similar roles, but the other two are way more efficient. If you can make a change of points on warrior profiles, which ones would you change and how?
This is an interesting one because there's a lot of profiles that are sort of awkward. Not necessarily bad points, but their comparison with other things makes them sad. Just sticking with Gondor for a start, I mean, Axemen of Lozanark need a special rule to make them worth taking over the pikemen. Like they're okay, but like if they get some extra bonus for being near Forlong or something, like a strength 4, if they're within 3 of Forlong, I think that would be a cool bonus.
I'd increase the points cost of Hunter Orcs personally.
Or I'd lower it on Black Shield, Moria Goblins.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're a criminal.
I'd love to be able to have a D6 front line, but you just cannot justify 8 points for one of those.
Black Shields got gimped in the new edition, unfortunately. They used to be strength 4. They went up in points, and they used to be 7 points with shields at strength 4. They were so good.
I don't want to be strength 3.
Elliot, what nonsense would you change?
What nonsense would I change? Most of the armies I play are not too bad. I think I'd like a little reduction for Mirkwood Rangers, perhaps.
That's a good shout.
They're very expensive.
I think the saddest profiles are always the ones that are like just objectively worse. Like Citadel Guard next to them, Fountain Court. It's like their niche is totally taken by Fountain Court.
I would either
give them a war spear so that when they're mounted, they have a little niche. That'd be cool.
I would either make Goblin Town Goblins 3 points each, or give them a bow for 1 point. Let them take bows.
They do have bows in the movie.
I know.
This is why you're the intern, John.
Moving on from the nonsense.
Then I could take like 75 goblins at 650 and have 25 bows.
I was half expecting you to say like make Easterling Warriors a point cheaper or something.
Yeah, I fucking hate Dragon Emperor. That's why I'm selling it to Steven. And
make Black Dragons actually give you points back.
Our next question / comment is from Pingwix. Thoughts on Radion Eagle? 3 dice minimum with the Hedgehog, a few cheeky immobilizers, channel terrifying aura for easy countercharge control and resistance to magic on the whole lot, not to mention healing the bird. I've taken Radion Eagle to an event back when Super Friends, so that's Lake Town Soup, was still a thing. Took Raddy and a bunch of Lake Towners, and he's really good. He's decent on Eagle. You have to be careful how you use him because he's a 200-point model without strike. But he's a lot of fun to use.
With Sebastian.
Oh yeah, you
also
Sebastian
for 5 points is probably the best upgrade for 5 points in the whole game. Even better than the 1 might upgrade on ring rates for 5 points.
Yeah, +1 attack is great.
+1 attack is insanely good.
Yep.
For 5 points. Even though
I would always question the Staff of Power though.
Well, yeah, like that's the thing.
Staff of Power is a big thing.
It is. So when you say like the terror support, for me, I don't think that's worth doing. John and I discussed this at length last year when he was.
I don't think so either. Like,
for me, your best bets are 1 dice panic steeding important heroes, because it's a great spell and you can cast it on 2+. Immobilizing key things before you swoop in with your fight 7 eagle and smash them. And yeah, occasionally renewing if you absolutely need to. But yeah, I don't think the terror is that. Oh, and Nature's Wrath can also be valuable.
I was going to say carpet bombing with Nature's Wrath sounds really fun. You can't actually cast when you're directly over a model, though, can you? Is that right?
No, you have to be able to land.
I think you have to be able to land to be able to cast where you're cast.
I don't think that's true. I'm not quite sure about with Nature's Wrath, but you can definitely cast as part of your movement.
Yeah, you can do it as part of your movement, but you pause your movement, don't you?
No, you don't.
You
don't have to be able to land to do anything as part of your flight.
I think they FAQ'd it, but please let us know in the comments below.
Well, I'll check that.
If
that
Dave's wrong,
wasn't the case.
He loses his competitive legitimacy. So it's a big call. Our next question is from Curtis Hodgson. What's Curtis's event?
GB,
great battle of our time. Yeah.
GB.
Yeah, Jibu, famously the nicest player in the league.
No, I mean,
Um,
he's talking about Battle of Borough here, though, because
yeah.
that was the one we talked about last week where he co-TO'd with
Yeah.
Sam Palmer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the Balrog player won most sporting. He was also one lucky shielding orc away from winning Divide and Conquer, with the Balrog being the only remaining model in the middle. So this was, in reference to anyone that missed last week's episode, a 350-point escalation event where some Chad brought just the Balrog as his 350-point list. So shout out to Curtis for letting us know that info, and shout out to the Chad that brought the Balrog. Next, we've got Robert Stevens saying, great podcast as always. Question, if you could change one thing on a character profile, what would it be? He would give Amber the Mighty Hero rule set provides more options than Take the Dragon Emperor.
Oh.
Stop giving Easter eggs things.
I mean,
No,
that's
Amder is a good shout because Amder is just.
You're just running with the Dragon Emperor anyway.
Yeah,
That'd be
I
fun.
think
just take
That'd be
both.
badass. Just take both.
Give
Yeah.
Amder
Better.
a master forged hand and a half sword. Make it a master forged hand and a half. I think that instead of
Let's leave that faction alone then.
my change would be surprising no one. Giving Elrond expert rider.
I was
Like
looking
Gilgalad
for
Magic
Gilgalad.
Resistance.
Yeah, I mean that as well, but we've already done this question before, and Elrond expert
like-
rider is more relevant to the
I
lore.
always thought that the Knights of Dol Amroth, Imrahil, should have expert rider as well.
Yes, they should.
But also I understand they kind of wanted to make it like a. I don't know, because Rivendell Knights and Rohan both have it. Anyway, it
Right,
feels like it's
moving
only
on.
on troops that come with
Well,
bows.
if
and
I
shields.
had free reign, I'd give the Watcher 6 might, but that's just me.
Yeah, and heroic
Sounds
strike.
sensible.
Infinite gets a 2-up.
No, it just needs strike. Strike's irrelevant. Just 6
give
might,
Marden
please.
heroic strike.
Oh
Yeah.
yes.
And
Marden
fights
gang
6
rise
base. He
up.
fights trolls. He should
Marden
have fight
gang
6.
rise up.
Fight 7 Marden versus Troll.
Right, before the
Fight 8.
Marden cult starts, let's go to the next question. Stuart McLean, friend of the pod, asks, best lists and points level for Gandalf the White to be his most optimal.
None.
2,000 points?
Most of
Anything
none-
over 800.
none that you're
he's
playing.
actually- he's
800.
usable over 800.
I would say, yeah, at 800 he becomes very niche. At 1,000 he's playable,
Yeah.
but he's always difficult to fit. Even at 1,000, it's hard to get your points value from him.
If you're
So-
not against magical big heroes, you will suffer.
Basically-
Ads
Yeah, it doesn't work below 800, I don't think.
Ads157 says, hi from Australia. With the Witch King and other magic being popular, what's a good way for Rise of Theoden to deal with it, and also Fell Beasts? So I think we cover this on
Hello,
last week's
Australia.
episode. We had a similar question, I think, on last week's pod, which
We
we
did,
covered.
but-
Dave gave some very good advice.
The short version is Witch King, basically be careful charging him if he's charged, because that means he gets the big knockdown. Monstrous cav is, or like monsters with monstrous charge are always a bit scarier with cavalry, but it can be done. I think picking a target and strike combating off of that once you know you're a higher fight value, attacking him once you know you're in a good position to do so, like if he's not charged, is a good start. Yeah, it's difficult, but he only starts 5 value 5, so
He's
all
also-
your heroes are striking up on an equal footing.
If he gets isolated and then there's a 50-50 on pouncing on him and trapping him, he will suffer. So the thing about the Fell Beast Witch King is that you have to treat it like a really careful scalpel, in that if you chuck him in the middle of your enemies, he might kill a lot of stuff, or you might just throw away your 200-point leader.
Yeah. And if there's only the Witch King anyway, I think by the time you've gone to combat and had a round of death,
Yeah.
the game's pretty much gone anyway. And the
If
Witch
he's
King
held
can't do
down
that
your
much.
line, that's an issue. If you can charge him with 1 or 2 Rohan Royal Guard to stop him from heroic combating off, maybe
Yeah,
3 Rohan
that.
Royal Guard.
Yeah.
Chuck
I guess
an
it's-
Air Mirror and heroic strength.
Yeah.
Or waiting to pull the trigger on that first charge until your opponent has priority, so your opponent's moved, and then be reactive if you can.
Exactly.
Or just Elf Helm throw and spear him off the top anyway.
Yeah, sure. 3
Right,
more.
The real question though is just for our audio listeners, is that Dave has been leaning forward for quite a while. He's obviously munching on something that tastes good. Dave, what are you eating?
I'm eating spaghetti and sausages. that might help.
Ooh.
Having your dinner
Straight out
mid-pod
the
is very, very Gollum's gamers of you.
Yeah, at least he
you
mutes
guys
his
had
mic,
to have it.
though.
You guys had to have it early, so
Yeah, that's fair. We'll blame
It's
the
only-
intern.
it was
It's
that
3
or
PM.
literally leave my
Tomorrow.
food for like half an hour and let it go cold. So I was like, no, I'm going to eat it actually.
So Grandpa Gabe asks, says the level of hobby at the GT this year was insane. He was also surprised by the lack of Dragon Emperors and Witch Kings lurking about.
I think this is a very interesting point. I think part of it is that
Emperor won
players
it,
who go
though.
to the GT might be less meta oriented. They might be slightly newer to the game, or they might just be doing it because they want to paint a cool army and take something cool.
What I would say as well is the sort of if you're just there for competitive, there are better value tournaments out there than the Warhammer World GT. Part of it is the grand day out aspect of it. It's a £70 ticket, which is it's nice with lunch included and everything, but that is significantly more than equivalent GBHL 100s. So if you're just going for competitive reasons, there has to be something extra,
And
Also,
the novelty,
Dragon Emperor won it, so
the novelty of Warhammer World is enough extra for some people. This was one of my, I think, third ever tournament last year. I fucking loved it. Like,
Yeah, the
Ali,
GT is
Ali
really
doesn't
good.
like it when we swear.
Yeah.
Sorry, Ali.
Sorry, Alex.
It was very good.
it's a bit late for that
Fucking
point.
sorry, Ali.
Our next question/comment is a triple comment from our number one
Ooh.
fan.
Shout out Liam
Big up
Smith
Liam.
and
Yeah.
shout out
The
Liam
Fat
Smith
Hobbit.
and shout out Liam Smith.
The
And shout out Liam
GT was an awesome, great weekend of gaming. No any heroics team there though. Very sad. We apologise. I wanted to go, but I couldn't get a ticket. Sign up to our upcoming Patreon to help us fund ticket sales.
Yeah.
They
More importantly, the
self-released
ticket
tickets.
sales are quite difficult to know when they're coming out.
And even when they do, the website always just
yeah.
freezes.
Yeah,
Leon also
Eventbrite just goes, bye.
Leon also says, when will we get all of any heroics team on the podcast at the same time? We've pretty much got that now. We're just missing Josh. But if you squint, imagine Dave a bit shorter with a full head of hair and liking Minas Tirith more. You can pretend he's Josh and
No,
fulfill your
Dave loves
dreams.
Minas Tirith.
Yeah, Dave likes Minas Tirith. Don't badmouth him like that.
And finally, Leon says, love how Stephen looked like he was hot off the back of a Rome at Senate meeting the whole time.
That's actually my job. I travel back in time to the Roman Senate. Although actually my robe should be purple because I am obviously from the the highest.
You're a consul,
echelon.
are you?
I am a consul.
David J, probably not friend of the pod, considering who this person actually is, asks, does Big Bill Champs have a hope in hell of hitting the GBHL podium this year using Moria, or is he 4 hobbits short of a bushel?
Who's David J?
Is that written in code?
I think this might be the mystery GBHL bugle writer.
Think.
You
Interesting.
Interesting. I don't know if that
I
is.
don't think to answer his question, whoever this is, I don't think World Champion is going to hit the podium just because he runs too many events and can't go to enough of them. I think he's a great player, and I think if he was able to compete on the same level that I did last year, for example, going to like 20 GBHL 100s, I think he probably would podium in the league.
Yeah.
But I'm also, it might happen. I just think that at the moment it's going to be tough because he hosts.
And also,
he hosts
he
like
is hosting
400s a year.
300s this
There you
year.
go,
300
Is it-
tournaments.
300.
That's one every day almost.
Or to clarify, he is hosting at least 2 and potentially the GBHL finale. Although that one is technically hosted by the GBHL committee team,
It's
aka
pronounced
me and
final.
John, and obviously the other 9 members.
Brexit
of
means
the
Brexit, Stephen. It's final.
To answer your question, if you mean GBHL podium as in the final end of year podium, it's doable,
He
right?
does
For
mean
someone
that, I'm
like
pretty
Will,
sure.
who is that good, yes. But with tournaments, yeah, he'll do it.
Yeah.
He'll podium
Hey,
100.
With
If this is
Moria, he
not
could do, yeah.
the person who I think it is, I apologize for being rude. If it is the person who I think it is, deal with it. Our next question is another fantastic suggestion that we're definitely
we all
planning
love
on
this.
stealing. You should make some YouTube shorts called Heroic Icks, where you list off icks that some heroes have. Market research
Heroic.
shows the younger generation responds
That's
positively
the
when
Gollum's
they hear
gamers then.
or read words they find fun to use. You can be busting into a currently untapped market for MESBG And then Carson also says we should do it at tournaments. So I think we should,
So
rather than
this
talking about our
For
heroic
those
hits
9
now,
younger listeners that are members of the Golems
these
Games,
these
we will do this for you.
these Ali's older than me, for God's sake. These comments, Carson, were very inspiring for us. We had a long conversation in the chat when we first saw this, talking about the idea and how we possibly would be doing some quick fire short tournament. Was it like we were thinking maybe a tournament report, something like that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a great idea.
We keep starting to film tournament vlogs, getting caught up in the tournament, and then just not finishing it off. But
That's why
tournament
this is a good idea.
shorts,
Pick up
we're
the
like
one that
right at
made
the
it.
start. We're like,
I'm-
Stephen, what are you taking, Gilgalad? Dave, what are you taking, Ministerius, etc. And then
And
we
then
do like
just-
an end thing.
I'm
And
just
little
imagining
snapshots throughout the day as well could
smash
be quite
cuts.
fun.
Smash
Yeah.
cuts after the game. Like, Elliot, what happened? Marden died. Oh,
Elliot,
Sure.
what happened?
Whoa,
Elliot, we
what
might
happened?
on Elfham's throwing spear.
Marden died
Okey-dokey.
again.
Right, our next comment is
Right,
from
Martin game.
that original orc saying that Smaug is utterly insane. So I'd
I've-
like to give a shout out to that original orc because
Check him
your
out on
stuff
Instagram.
is absolutely insane.
Yeah.
Orcs are terrified of Smaug.
I
of
was
course
I
he'd
was
say
very
that.
excited to see this comment because I've been following this guy's Instagram for a while, and I'm happy that he follows us because big fan, big
Yeah.
fan. If
Bit
you
of a
check it out,
fangirl
loads
moment.
of yeah, it's amazing stuff. Lots of converted. It's like my favorite thing in the game in hobby is like making models, different poses, like custom. This guy's whole thing is like picking orcs from like crowd shots and then bringing them to life like extra orcs. It's so cool.
I'll
Amazing
put a
stuff.
link in his Instagram in the description
Put
because
linking his Instagram to our
Yeah.
channel. Come back
Yeah.
here.
even
Yeah.
though we're
Just
not
stealth it in.
sponsored by that original orc,
Not
his
yet.
stuff is so good that I will happily shill
Shout
his
out
page.
for free.
Our next shit.
Whoa.
Double comment. The only JP1 asks,
Fuck's
how do I get
sake.
the intern to paint me an army?
How
Sorry,
did you screen grab
I
that
was
from
gonna
0
say,
seconds ago?
Sean, don't do that.
I don't.
0
You get
seconds.
the intern to paint you an army by letting him meta chase so hard that he hates one of the armies he's done, and then he also doesn't like his paint scheme for it, but also love his paint scheme for it. That's how.
Yeah, do you want an event with an army that shouldn't do well? Convince him it's worth taking, and then you get it for free.
Yeah.
No, you put the effort in. Just wait a month, buy it off him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe he'll do paid commissions in the future. Who knows?
Ooh.
Yeah. Comment down below if you want me to paint
Yeah.
this.
Comment and he'll take a screenshot 0 seconds later.
Who, John?
What to paint? What?
Paint
Anyway,
an army or something.
I'm worthy of Mordor.
Our final comment of the week comes from Seth Clark, who's replying to his comment from the last episode, saying happy to be doxed. He's in the Surrey area, so I guess close-ish to London. Not entirely sure what's a good spot to get local games in, but we'll keep an eye out for tournaments. If I see any of you, I'll definitely say hi. So you're in my region. I'm the southeast of England GBHL regional rep. So there's a decent tournament scene that happens in London. I think based around the London Wargaming Guild. They've got an MESBG. Is that right, Dave?
London Wargaming Guild is
They've got the
big
group chat, don't
It's
they?
a massive umbrella organization for all kind of wargaming, but there is an SPG chat which is very active to the point where it's definitely you need to keep that shit muted because it's extreme. But I dip into it from time to time. They're a good bunch of lads. They mostly play in Badminton Cafe, which is in Borough in South London. That's probably not the best place for you, I would have thought.
Yeah.
But it's
I
definitely
guess
an option.
Surrey is kind of closer
south
to
of London.
Yeah, south of London. There's games in Havant near Portsmouth. I know they run some tournaments. There's an upcoming tournament, I think, in Newbury. So
Reading is relatively active as well. There's the Wargamers Association of Reading.
I think the best thing to do is go onto the Great British Hobbit League website, look at the events calendar, see what events are coming up near you, and just start going to events. Like it's how I met I knew Stephen from school, but all the rest of the lads I just met through tournaments. All of my kind of friends in the hobby are kind of scattered all over the country, and it's all just through meeting at tournaments. Like it's the best thing about tournaments. Winning's nice, not that I'd know But the best thing about tournaments is the social and that community that
Cheers.
you just get to instantly be a part of because we're all playing toy soldiers together.
So
not
when I
not only
started-
throughout the country, but throughout Europe as well, because obviously we've got Chris Lewis, we've got Louis Van Heck, we've got people in Ireland.
Oh heck.
So we do actually have one last comment sent through anonymously. I couldn't possibly tell you who's actually sent this comment through, but it is a podcast review from a man who
It's coming.
definitely tastes a lot like gravy and might
I'm
run his
sure
own
Elliot
tournaments.
had something to say.
No,
I think
honestly,
Elliot
nothing
had
to,
something to say.
Nothing,
Don't worry,
nothing
Elliot.
at all, mate.
So John,
So this is some live editing on the fly here.
a
I will
live
make it bigger.
comments from Mr. Clavid Dubley, or was it Han Dawkins? I'm not entirely sure. Regarding a review of last week's podcast, giving heroic points and Golem's points. Not sure why Golem's points. I'm not sure that's relevant. Jobby, heroics points, doing proper hobbying. Well done. Asking me what I'm wearing. Correct. You got the Army Hood bonus right. Shout out to Liam Smith. Outrulesing Farmer on Stompy and a bonus pun. Golem's point for being mean to Josh. Farmer +2 heroics points, getting the Hood bonus right. Attempting the Polish name. Dig at John. Calling someone a good guy. No idea who this could possibly be. Golem's points. Playing the game before the GBHL. Oh, false. There wasn't a game before the GBHL. Agreed. There wasn't. No such thing. And also getting Stompy's strength hit wrong. Dodgy Denby, that's me. -1 point heroics points. 1 for firing shots at John. 2 for shout out to David Clubby, brother called James. And Fiefdom's love. Golem's points. Not knowing Mirkwood had no Bowen model. Correcting people's grammar. Excuse you. That's all I do. Getting them a Hood bonus wrong. And claiming I'm better than Luke the Suit Hilda. I mean, the truth, unfortunately. Sorry. Now, here at the meat of the comment.
Oh no, there's technical difficulties. We'll have to cut the pod here.
My
Yeah.
favorite thing about this is the corrected people's grammar. Sad to see fewer of this, please. That's the best comment. In the
Yeah,
whole thing.
he obviously did do that on purpose, I hope. Otherwise, I will turn
that-
to his house.
That's beautiful. Whoever
This
is
person is
sensible and-
famously illiterate though.
Yes. One of the worst journalists in the GBHL, but also the only
I
journalist.
was going to
in
say one of the
GBHL.
best as well by default, surely.
I also knew when I got a review finally I would win it, and
Yeah.
I'm right. So this beats. Well, it's like I can't. Podiums now matter nothing for me in the GBHL. This is I've peaked. This is great.
Yeah. John, are you suitably flustered now?
I'm never flustered. I'm inflammable.
Because I was specifically asked to ambush you, so I've now done so. I've done my duty. Sorry for the last 3 minutes of the podcast. This has been a mess that I made happen. I take full responsibility for my actions, and I will be standing down as podcast editor for any future podcasts. But you know, I wanted to do it, so I did it. Cheeky little wrap up, having ruined the credibility of the podcast.
Yeah.
Remember to comment, like, share, subscribe, support your Hobbit hobby. Go check out Firestorm Games if you're ever in the Cardiff or Bristol area. Definitely worth the trip over. Remember to buy your stuff from there. Link in the description.
Well, if you're in Cardiff, you're already there. So if you're in Bristol, it's worth a trip over. Just to clarify.
That's what I was saying. Sorry. We'll catch you on the next one. Chitter, chitter.
Chitter,
Chitter,
chitter.
chitter.
Chitter, chitter. Do we actually have sponsors?
We actually do.
We've had a sponsor for the last year.